Wow, was that Hollywood? No, it was just an iPad and a few apps. Which apps? Well, Keynote and iMovie with a little bit of Google. So, do you want to make a short clip that you can see special effects, sound effects, and a mountain in 3D, an airplane flying down, crashing, the noise, the sound, the music, just like Hollywood? Well, let's get started and make that sun rise and that airplane crash. So, what do we need to do first? Well, first we need to open our Keynote and we need to make sure that we have a white background for putting everything around. Now you can see that I have actually already, as I made the movie already, I collected all the different parts. I needed a sun, an airplane, a mountain range. I even needed some clouds. So how did I do it? First, what I did is I went to Google. I put in what I needed, for example, an airplane, a mountain range, a sun, and some clouds. And I made sure I put PNG so that they were translucent. But sometimes, even when they say PNG, we still get a background, and we might want to take that background away. So if I want to take a background away, the first thing what I do is I will go to Safari or any other web browser and I will click into a website called Remove BG, remove the background. I'll upload my photograph like you see here, and then I will click on it to take away the background, and then I will click download, and then I will save it. Once I've saved it, I can then take it and put it into my Keynote. So now we've collected all the pictures we need. We need an airplane, we need the clouds, we need the sun, we need the mountains. So next what we want is to create our background. Now the easiest way to make a background is just take a plain white background and then you start from a blank canvas. Now normally what I like to do is I will put a shape on it. Once I put the shape on it, I will stretch out the shape. Normally just a square is fine. And then I will color it. Now make sure that you fill the full part of your blank space because you don't want anything later when you're looking at it. Next I'm going to choose a color and I'll go to gradient. It's important gradient because I can mix the two colors. So obviously I want to mix the sky, which is a blue, and so I make sure I choose a blue there, and then I will go and I will choose a second color like green for the ground. Once I have my background, even though I might not see much of it, it hides anything that I don't want people to see. So that is the start. First we have a background. Now that we have our background, I want to think about how to make my sky. So I'm looking at my sky and I need the clouds. So already I downloaded a clip that I will be able to fit in here. Now you see already I have a little bit of a blue, and so then when I'm fitting it in there, there's no color coming through the back or anything. So now what I do is I put the clouds here and I put it about 50% so that it seems like it's coming down to meet the ground, and I stretch it out a little bit to make sure that it is the correct size and the clouds are at the correct place. Once I've done that, I want to think about my next part. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to collect the sun. I need to make sure that the sun, everything must be layered properly. So that means that you have to make sure the right thing goes behind. Now you see here what I've done is I doubled up on this, but it was a mistake. I needed to collect the sun and I collected a second background. So here we have the sun. You'll see here I've made sure that it can move around so that I can see exactly what it is, and then I just leave it there until I'm ready to position it. Now, next I want to look at the mountains. I need the mountains to help me to know where everything's going to go in position. So I pick up the mountains and I stretch them out so that I can get a good understanding of where the mountains are going to go in connection to where the sun is going to go. So it's good to test, move it around. Don't think that everybody's just going to throw it in there perfect. Actually, it takes a little bit of time to move things around and so that you can see exactly where it's going to go, and test it. Use your cursor and just move it up and down, get everything perfect, okay? And you're going to keep testing till you feel that yes, that's where it's going to come from. It's going to rise up from below and go above the mountains. Now, leave your sun down below. You see, you can still see it. That's because you need to add your animation. So then we're going to click on it for the animation. And then we are going to go to draw a line. And then we're going to draw a line directly right up over the mountain. And this is exactly how the sun is going to rise up to above the mountain. You then have to make sure, you have to test it. Now, when you've got this animation, you can see that you can control how fast it goes or when it will come. So for instance, you can have it on after the transition, which I will click on, and I might move it around and test it. So I'm going to test to see how fast. Oh, that's come up quite fast. So I might want to slow that down. So I will check again. So I'm going to move it around a little bit and test it a few times to make sure that I'm quite comfortable with the first animation of the sun. Okay, now let's see. We'll test that there and we'll be fine. Next, what I want to do is I want to hide the sun and create a 3D effect with the mountain. So I have to go and click on another part of the mountain. We're always going to be layering. The more times you layer, the more flexible it is. So you'll see now I'm going to add it to my picture, a new set of mountains, and then I will stretch it out and I will make it fit. So with this, again, you should play around. Make sure that you can fit it beside the mountain and start to see how it fits and how it can look like 3D or a mountain range. And you slowly but surely, now you'll see that your sun has disappeared and you now have some more mountains. This starts to make it look like 3D. So now you've got your sky and 3D mountains and your sun in place. The next thing you want to do is you want to get your airplane. You want to see how the airplane is going to fit in here. So we click on the airplane, we bring it in and we add it to our picture. Now you see there, you can see how you have to make sure it's the correct size and also about where it's going to fly. So I like to play around with the airplane to make sure that I can see exactly what line it will fly on. I move it around, I test it, make sure that I feel comfortable before I start to do the animation. Okay, so now once I feel like okay, I'm ready, I'll click on the animation and I will maybe move things around, and when I feel I'm ready, I will try and test flying the airplane on the animation line, which doesn't take long. Click on the animation, do the straight line, and then right down there. Okay, so I got a straight line. After I've drawn my straight line, I need to make sure that how fast it's going and when it's going to arrive. I have to click on which build that I will use it with and make sure that I am happy with the speed. So I'll test it a couple of times. I can see the sun rising and that coming in at the same time. So now we've got the sun and the plane on the same part and they're moving together. Next, what I want to do is I want to add the second animation special effects. Okay, and that's going to be the airplane on fire. So I'm going to click into the animation, click on the fire and test about how it looks burning up. Once I've tested this animation, I've checked that its speed's okay. I've got to check when it starts to burn. Obviously in this one it goes after build 2, has to go on fire after the airplane crashes. So then I will test it again and the sun rises, the plane crashes and it burns up. Okay, now the next part, now that we're happy with our burning airplane, we have to think about hiding it. We want to bring in another mountain. Like I said before, we used the mountains to help us create the 3D effect, but we also use the mountains to help us hide anything we don't want you to see. This is, if you like, effects, special effects that are used in movies. So what we have to do is we have to place the mountain, move it around a little bit, and test it. We have to fly the airplane a few times into it to make sure that we can see the correct burning part and to make sure that the actual airplane is covered. So in this one we can see that it's covered, but maybe the mountain's too big. We want to see more of the fire, and actually maybe want to see more of the grass. Okay, so I'm moving everything around a little bit, see if I can get a better effect, and then once I feel comfortable again, I will test it again. This time I think we get to see more of the flames. I think that's good. That's what we're looking for. And so once we feel comfortable with everything, maybe move it around a little bit, tweak it if you like, and test it again so that we're happy with our fire and all of our animation. Okay, so now that we're happy with our animation in Keynote, we're now going to move our clip from Keynote into iMovie. The reason we want to move to iMovie is that iMovie can add sound effects and music, which is quite important to make it sound very good. So, how are we going to do that? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on Export, click on Movie. At this point we decide how many 1080 that we're going to use, and we'll click on Export. At this point it is creating a mini video, and then once we have created the video we will then have the choice to where to send it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to iMovie. I will click on iMovie and then I will choose New Movie. Okay, so you can see that now this is in iMovie. So now our movie is in iMovie. We want to check that everything is still okay. So we test it to see that the airplane flies and the sun rises and the burning fire is there. But also you'll notice that we have also got all the other clips. Now remember, before, all the different parts that we were using, they're all here. And so what we want to do is make sure a couple of times that we're happy with our video. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the part that we don't need. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add some music. Now, iMovie has its own soundtracks. So we click on Soundtracks, which will give us lots of choice, and we choose something we think is correct. So we scan down, we might test a few, you can just click on them and they will play, but I know which one I want to use because I've tested it. It's called the Summit. So I will add that, and once you add it, it will start to play. It's quite good that way. So once I've collected all of the sounds I'm happy with, I will test it, I will listen to it a few times. Okay, so now I want to see some sound effects. I want to hear or see them. So I look down, scan down, and I'm looking for something that connects to the aeroplane. So one of the things I noticed was the walkie-talkie. And so what I did is I click on that and I want to hear what it sounds like. So I'm going to test it and see how it sounds. Sounds good. I thought it was a little bit long, so I want to cut it a little bit, take it away. I might even reduce the volume so that everything fits a little bit better for me. So it's important that at this point you can play around with the volume because you don't want it to be too loud, how long it is, so that everything fits to your idea. Now, once I've decided about this, I also wanted some more sound. And I thought about adding thunder. Because when it crashed, I thought, oh, there needs to be something more. So, after I put the walkie-talkie, I imagined that it stopped talking, but there would be another noise. So at this point, I add the sound of thunder. So now that you've got your thunder and you have your music and you have your walkie-talkie, you've got all of it together, it is quite important that you test it a few times. Listen to it, make sure that what you see is everything that you want. Try to line up the sound with what you see so that it fits perfectly. Now it's time to render your video so that it's ready for you to use for whatever reason you decided to make it. Now it will export itself into the correct format and it will be ready for you to use. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope that you are able to now go and make your own 3D animated special effects small video. Thank you.